What's up, Freedom Youth? We are here at Pastor Alex's house for this week, so we're going to worship together. I hope to speak to you in the chat. Give me some praise hands, some emojis. Let me know you're there, and let's worship together. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my turn till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness to your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness to your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. You're made new, Jesus. When I met you, you called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness to your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness to your glorious day. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing, and your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. My name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness to your glorious day.
Pastor Jody, what are you doing in my house?
You didn't remember? Like, you said we were recording today. It's
Oh, today's the day we're recording.
recording for youth for this week.
Oh, because of different youth. Different
I mean-
series, different setup. Oh, man.
I mean,
totally
sorry
forgot.
we broke in, but
It's no big deal.
Thought you were expecting it.
I mean, I'm set up. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm always ready. So let me grab my iPad here. Over here. Okay. All right. I'm ready. Hey. Well, since y'all are here, do you want to do a tour of the house?
Sure.
This is the living room. Isn't it nice? Freshly painted walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I painted it myself. Here, come here. This is the, here's the kitchen. Kitchen's right here. This is the kitchen. I painted the chairs myself, too. Yeah. I put the shelves up, too. It's all me. It's nice, right?
All right.
Yeah, this is my house. I like it. So, we won't go upstairs, though, because, we just won't go upstairs. But thanks for worshiping with us. I guess you probably should get started.
We just gonna hang out? Or?
I mean, yeah. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna get started.
I'll go.
I'll
go. It's fine.
go drink your coffee. Just go. I'm gonna talk to you guys because man, I'm so excited. Hey, and since we're in our house or my house, I guess me and my wife's. I thought I would like open up to you and get kind of real with you. I mean, it's kind of an intimate place and.
Alex,
What?
what's going on?
Alex, you did not tell your wife that we're filming today?
I forgot. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we're filming. Sorry. Okay. Go back upstairs.
She saves lives.
Yeah, she does. She's a nurse. She's a nurse and she saves lives. And she's about to go to bed because she's got to work tonight. And I totally forgot to let her know. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna get in trouble for it. It's no big deal. I'll buy her flowers. There's a lot of like Mother's Day flowers left, so I'll go buy her some of that. But yeah, let's get started. I'm so excited that you guys are here in my house. Like Pastor Jody said, we're doing things a little differently because today we start a brand new series called Different Youth. I'm so excited about this. And in fact, I'll give you guys a little secret. For the rest of the series, we are gonna go live. Like we're live now, but it's like recorded. But like next week, we're gonna go like actually live, and I've got a lot of fun things planned, and I can't wait to get started. But since we were home, I thought I would open up to you, and I thought I would tell you guys about a little bit about me. And I've spoken on this a little bit before, but when I was a middle schooler, I was that like real annoying kid. Like I was super loud. I was super crazy. Like, I obviously wasn't the cool kid. So I thought, man, I've got to stand out some way or another. And if I'm going to stand out, I might as well be like the loud, crazy one. And so since I was a loud, crazy one, I would just get into antics. I was a class clown. I like to be different. And this is actually really funny. One time, I was thinking to myself, like, oh man, I should play a prank on my friends. I think it was like 8th grade or 7th grade or something. And I went like 3 days and I didn't speak a word. Like, I didn't talk to anybody. And by like the 3rd day, all my friends were like, Alex, are you okay? Is something wrong? Like, why aren't you talking? And I would just be like, and like I didn't talk. And I thought it was the funniest thing. They were all mad at me. But I enjoyed being different. And once I got into high school, I calmed down a little bit. I still was kind of loud and annoying. But I always enjoyed being different. I always enjoyed going against the grain. And now today when I look at culture, I think, wow, as a culture, we celebrate differency. Like you as a student, I bet you like to be different. Or let me put it this way. You like to feel special. You like to feel that you're unique, that you're special, that you've got a purpose. Like you like to feel that way. I mean, we all do. We all like to feel like, hey, we're unique because we're all created in the image of God. And because we're created in the image of God, we have this like just this innate ability to show off like, hey, God's characteristics. Some of us are really creative. God's a creative God, and we like to show off our creativity. God's also a God that loves. Some of us are really good at loving people and serving people. We all have different attributes of God's character. So as a culture, we love to show off our differences. And in fact, I think we're doing a better job than we used to about celebrating each other's differences. Now, that being said, we still have a lot of hate and prejudice in this world. We have a lot of people that don't like it when people are different than them. And, we've got a long ways to go. But I want to talk about, like, as a youth, how we can be different. So, Pastor Sean this week started a series called On the Other Side of Different. And if you haven't watched it yet, would you honor our pastor? Like, you should honor our pastor. Let's go back, go watch it, because it's so good. He talked about how on the other side of different, like this time that we're in right now, how this quarantine, being stuck at home. I mean, this quarantine has messed with my brain. I don't even know what days it is. I forget what days we're recording. I forget to tell my wife things. All those kind of things happen. And Pastor Sean talked about how during this different season, there's another side to it, that we're going to come out on the other side. And he talked about how Jesus came to the man that was possessed by demons and how for him that was normal, but God had something different for him. And I loved it. It got me so excited because he started talking about how, things are going to change. The difference going to end. There's an other side to it. And it got me so excited, y'all, about coming back to youth, coming back to church, going back and meeting together. I mean, if you haven't heard, if by some crazy way you been off of socials or you just haven't seen the posts. But y'all, June 7th, we are getting back to church. Let's go. I'm gonna get excited, everybody. Oh, sorry, I know y'all, the camera's rolling, but man, I'm so excited. June 7th, we get to finally meet together as a church. So that means June 10th, we will be back at Freedom Youth. That's right. I mean, we're still Freedom Youth because we're still a church and we're still the youth and like we still meeting now. But I can't wait to see you guys on June 10th at Freedom Church. It's going to be amazing. I don't have all the details for you about what the night's going to look like. You know, are we allowed to like hug and high five and all those different things. And you know what? You don't even need those details yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just need to know one thing. June 10th, we're back. And I guess actually two things. The second thing you need to know is invite. Like, invite everyone. Invite your entire class. Because you know what? I guarantee you that one person that you have invited over and over again and have always said, nah, man, youth's not for me. You invite them to Freedom Youth on June 10th, they're going to say yes. I mean, who wouldn't want to get out of the house and come and hang out and worship and hear a word from God? I mean, come on, just tell them June 10th, and I bet you they'll come, and I'm so excited for that. So we'll get the more details out to you guys later about what that's going to look like, but you need to invite everyone there, the people you've tried to invite before, and here's also who you should invite. You should invite the people like in your small group. Maybe there's some people, I know there's actually some people, some students that have really jumped on. They haven't been online, they haven't watched the YouTube videos, and you need to remind them too. Like, invite everyone in your small group. Hey y'all, did you hear? Even if you know they're coming, just like send them a text. Like, you coming on June 10th? You coming? Anyway, so June 10th, we're getting back in. So now, we're gonna look at what it means to be a different youth. Not just because, we're doing youth on my couch, but how we can actually be different. And I don't mean different for the sake of being different. Like when I was in middle school and high school, like I just wanted to be different for the sake of being different. But we're gonna be different for a reason, for a purpose. And it's found right in John 13:35, when Jesus is speaking to his disciples. But before we look at verse 35, we gotta look at verse 34. And verse 34 says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. And you also are to love one another." And if y'all remember, this was like the entire premise of the series we did right before Rona happened. Y'all remember that series? It was called From Cool to Kind, and we talked about how, we're a cool youth group, but we want to go from cool to being kind. Like, we're still going to do the cool things, but we want to be known as a kind youth group. And I thought it's interesting how the verse I want to preach on to you today in verse 35, we're going to get there, but in verse 34, it kind of reminds us of that series that we just came out of, that, hey, we're to love other people just as we want to be loved ourselves. And here's the thing. We can't be a kind youth unless youth decide to be different. I'm going to say that again. We can't be a kind youth unless you, the youth, decide to be different. So we start off this Rona with verse 34, and we were in the whole series of From Cool to Kind, and then we took a pause. Remember, youth pause? We took a pause during this whole Corona stuff, and now we're in verse 34. And by the way, I'm so excited that we're going to be back together. And can I just say, if you're watching right now and you've been watching youth from like here on, and you've seen all the things, you're a part of the core. I mean, I bet you there's someone watching right now that's a first-time guest. And if you are a first-time guest, I want you to know that we are not a crowd. We are family. And there's a link right now. It's going in the chat, or it's pinned somewhere in the video description. There's a form. I just want you to fill that out so we can reach out to you, so we can welcome you to our family. But for those of that are watching, that have been watching, and even if it's your first time, y'all are the core. I mean, not a whole lot of students are going to say, yeah, I'm going to take, 20, 30 minutes out of my day to watch youth online. And I'm really proud of you guys. And so as a core, at you guys, like my people, we're going to look at what it means to be different, how youth can be different from verse 35. And I know I keep talking about verse 35, and I'm going to get there. Don't worry. So for my peeps, real quick, when youth gets back on June the 10th, I'm going to just give you some insider stuff, y'all. We're in my house, and I know y'all are like anxious to see what the verse 34 is. I'm going to get there. But did you know that when we get back, we're going to do a series called Don't Belong? I know what you're thinking. You're like, wait, our first Wednesday back, we're going to do a series called Don't Belong? Doesn't make any sense.
You don't belong to hate. You don't belong to fear. You don't belong to depression. We're going to do a whole thing about how we don't belong to this world, but we belong to Jesus. We belong here. We belong in love. And I can't wait for that. So that's just for my peeps that are watching. That's just for you, Core, to get like kind of excited about that. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into verse 35. And it says, "By this, all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another." If you have love for one another. One of the things I tell leaders when they join the team for the first time, like if a new youth leader wants to join, is I tell them the expectations. I tell them like, hey, if you're going to be a youth leader, this is what I expect from you. This is how I want you to like act. These are the things that you need to do, because here's the thing. No one wants to lose, right? Like no one wants to do something they feel like they're not doing a good job at. And so if you give the expectations right off the front, you know that you're doing a good job. You know how you're like quote unquote winning. And here's the thing, expectations need to be communicated because unmet expectations breed frustration. And Jesus right now is giving us expectations. He's saying, hey, I expect this from you guys. If you want the world to know that you're my disciples, then do this. They'll know it by the way you love one another. And so in the same way, Jesus gives us clear expectations. And Jesus loved us without hesitation or limitation. And he expects us to do the same. So what's different about us? This whole different youth series that we're going to do going right up into June 11th. The thing that I want to talk to you, my core, about is what it looks like to love one another. What it looks like to be different. This next few weeks, we're going to meet, before we meet in June 10th, we're going to look at like what it looks like to welcome people differently. What does it look like to worship differently? What does it look like to be in small groups differently, to love our families differently, to love one another differently? And it gets me so excited because the fact that you guys, you're my core, I'm going to keep calling you that because if you're watching right now, you're my core. Like, take ownership of that. I can't wait to just kind of pour into you and see on June 10th how things are just going to blow up. And we're going to be different. People are going to come. We're going to worship differently. We're going to love differently. We're going to welcome differently. So as a core, as a youth, as a church, we exist to help people who are far from God but close to us and help them find freedom in Christ. And for that to happen, we've got to be different. Because think about it, like, we've got to look different than the world. I mean, how depressing would it be if we looked and acted just like the world around us? If we looked and acted and were mean to one another, we ridiculed one another, we had prejudice towards one another. What if we were to be different? I mean, we as a youth, we as a church, we need to show that, hey, like, we're different. And the way we're going to do that is by the way we love. Let's show them how we're different. Not different for the sake of being different, but for the sake of love. Right now, if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, I need you to go over to YouTube because, again, different youth series. We're going to do things differently. So tonight, we're going to do small groups a little bit differently. We're going to play a game together. You know, it's kind of going to be like a big small group. And that's right. You right now can play with us. And we're going to do that. So we're going to have Pastor Jody's going to come up. We're going to go into one more worship song. But here's what they need to do, Pastor Jody. They need to have a computer because they're going to play the game on their phone, right? And so if they're going to do that, you can't be watching on your phone. You got to be playing on your phone. So go ahead. We're going to spend some time right now in worship to give people time to jump on over to YouTube. So right now, jump over to YouTube, jump over, get off of Instagram, get off of Facebook, get your phones out, get ready, and let's do one more worship song, and let's pray it out, right? Sounds good. Sounds good. Heavenly Father, God, I thank you so much for these students. God, I thank you that they are different. God, you've called them to something different. God, you're preparing the hearts of all the students in Berkeley County. God, the students all over Berkeley County are just going to feel a tug that on June the 7th, we're going to come back together as a church, and June the 10th, we're going to come back together as a youth. So I thank you, I praise you for this core students that are watching. In Jesus' name, amen.
Miracles when you move, such an easy thing for you to do. Your hand is moving right now. You were still showing up at the tomb of every Lazarus. Your voice is calling me out right now. I know you're able, my God. Come wind is blowing right now, breaking my heart of stone, taking over like it's Jericho. My walls are all crashing down right now. I know you're able, my God will come through again. You can do all things. You can do all things but fail. 'Cause you never lost a battle. No, you never lost a battle. And I know you never will. Never lost a battle. Never lost a battle. Never lost a battle. You never will. 'Cause you never lost a battle. Never lost a battle. You never lost a battle. You never will. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. No, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. No, there's nothing better than you. No, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. 'Cause you can do all things. You can do all things but fail. 'Cause you never lost a battle. No, you never lost a battle. I know you never will. And I know